Lafond Productions. Screen Stage Sound.
Hello, I am here with my mother, Elizabeth Rhodes, and I am Johnetta Lafond, the founder of a nonprofit organization called Daughters Revenge, the fight against breast cancer. I started this organization because my mother is a breast cancer survivor. She's had breast cancer since I was 5 years old. I am 24 now, and I really feel some kind of way about this. I'm doing this interview with my mom because I wanted to share my experience as a daughter with a mother surviving breast cancer and fighting. And I wanted to share it with other fighters, survivors, patients, and most importantly, at the time for me, other daughters. I want to know what you guys are feeling. I want to share with others my experience and hear from you as well. So this is my mom.
Hello.
Okay. Hi, Mommy.
Hi.
So when did you, what was this first experience? How did you find out that you had breast cancer and when?
Well, when I first found out I had breast cancer, it was my first mammogram, actually. I had never had a mammogram before. And when I turned 40, my primary care doctor advised me to get a mammogram. So I kind of put it off. I didn't make the appointment, and I was just waiting. And my church had the van come by, the mammogram van. And I thought, well, this is the opportunity for me to do that. So it was kind of sent by God for me to have that mammogram. Yeah. And on my first mammogram, and my primary care doctor called me and said I needed to go to the hospital and have the regular mammogram because the portable van showed that there was a spot. So after I had the actual mammogram at the hospital, I went to the hospital and had a lumpectomy, and that was shown to be positive for cancer cells.
So once you found that out, having me, and I was 5, what were your feelings? What did you think at the time?
Well, I thought I'd better get the best care that I can because I definitely wanted to be here to see you grow up and graduate from college and get married and hopefully still be here to see my grandchildren.
Yes, I need you here. So for me, I don't see you cry. I don't see you upset often. So from my eyes, you are literally the strongest person that I've ever seen in my life. So what were your emotions? You weren't around me being upset. So I never got to see the vulnerable side of you.
Because God sent another person to be in our lives. And that was Auntie Jackie and your god sisters. So they were there for me. And when I had to go to the hospital for chemotherapy or treatments, then Auntie Jackie took you and you stayed with your god sisters and you had lots of fun and played with them. So you weren't around when I had to go through all of that. As well as my brother, Uncle Frank, took you and you went to his house in Falmouth and you played with him, his grandson, Stephen, and Auntie Sharon. So you weren't around when I was going through the surgeries and treatments and stuff. By the time you got back, I was well into recovery.
So do you even remember when I noticed?
No. I don't know when you noticed.
I don't either. I feel like it was just, I don't know. I don't even remember how I found out, how I knew, how I even noticed.
Well, I had to go for another lumpectomy around 2005. But that was negative. That was just a miscue on the mammogram, I think.
I remember that.
So that may be about the time that you realized something was going on. Plus, I was never shy about getting dressed or undressed in front of you. And so you noticed that my breasts were not the same.
Right. I think I remember always seeing the scar. I think I might have asked you one day, what happened, but I don't think I understood until your lumpectomy in 2005. I think that's when it really, I started to get affected emotionally. When it was like, wait a minute, there's scars already there, and you have to go back again. I think that's when I actually felt connected to breast cancer in general. Like, that's when I felt like I needed to start getting involved. I think because I was 16 in 2005. So feel like that's when we started doing the walks together.
Well, we actually started doing the walks in 2001. That was our first walk.
Okay.
When we went with one of the nurses from my old job at Bowdoin Street Health Center.
I remember that day and it was raining.
Yeah, well, not so much that day. It was after that.
It was gross.
Many years after that. But we started the first walk in 2001, and we've walked every year since then.
As your daughter, I never realized how much it could affect me until the second time this year and late last year, when it was like you actually told me and I was at work, and I was just like, I could not finish my day. I went home early. I was really upset because you had kept it a secret from me and Dad.
Well, it wasn't a secret, really. I noticed that there were some changes around the scar tissue, and so I had some suspicions. And I went to the doctor, and I had a mammogram. I had many, many, many tests. It wasn't like the first time when they said, oh, the mammogram looks positive, let's do a lumpectomy. This time, I went for many, many, many tests before they actually gave me a diagnosis. So I didn't want to give you the idea that I had cancer again until I knew for sure. And they didn't tell me for sure. They went all the way around Robin's Nest. It was fluid in the breast, and I had to have this test and that test, and they did aspirate the fluid. And then my oncologist found a lump under my left arm. So that was tested as well. And when that test came back, it was positive for cancer. So when I got the answer from the doctor, I gave you the answer. But I didn't know before that.
So I know we had conversations when I would ask you, well, how do you feel? Are you afraid? Are you nervous? And you kind of would just be like, well, I'll take it one day at a time. But I know for me, I was really upset. It was more like, but like, why again? Like, that's not even fair. Like, why does that even have to happen? Like, why again? What, like, and I felt like I was in a position where I couldn't really do anything to help you. And I didn't like that. It was like, what are we supposed to do now? Just sit around and wait? And that's kind of what happened. And I feel like that's where I really felt like I needed to be a part of this more. And that's where I got the idea from for Daughter's Revenge, because I was like, I can't just sit around and watch the strongest person I know go through this and suffer. Although you didn't want me to know that you were suffering as much, but you just kind of would be like, I don't feel good. I'm staying home. But I know, like, that's not you normally. So it was like, I need to get you better, and I need to do something to help others. So now that you're finishing up chemo in December, like, how did you feel? Like, what are your emotions?
Well, now it's not so bad. I was a little nervous about the surgery because I knew it was going to be a big, major surgery. So I'm just so glad it's over, and I'm well on my way to recovery now. The chemotherapy was very draining. It was very draining. It made me tired, made me weak, and it sometimes it made me feel like I just couldn't get out of bed. But now that I'm over that, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm able to do more and get out and do things. That must mean the interview's over because...
No, I don't know what else I have to say. I can cut that out. That's the best part.